Report! She turned to face her second-in-command, who found it difficult to keep calm. They're giving us hell! He shouted back, his voice strained over the roar of another blast. The East was just destroyed by drawn cruisers. The casualties in Ridge Colony are enormous. Lara's jaw tightened, her eyes squinting. Send me a command line to Earth. If they fail to return at this point, all that will remain is a cemetery. The tranquility of Titan Colony before dawn was broken by the sound of alarms. Commander Lara Holt, startled from a restless sleep, woke up in her bunk. She ran toward the command center, the metallic clang of her boots reverberating through the hallways. Bursting through the doors, she was met with chaos. Officers and technicians were frantically scurrying across the room, navigating between screens flashing with warnings. Sparks spat from damaged consoles. Lara roared over the din. "Status update! There are at least 5 drain cruisers," a voice shouted. "They're descending into our atmosphere." Lieutenant Nash, his face illuminated by the menacing red glow of the radar, darted his eyes toward the monitor. "They're targeting us with frightening accuracy. Activate the interceptors. Bring the online defense cannons to full power." Lara's voice cut through the panic like a blade, grounding her crew and steering them through the unfolding calamity. On the horizon, smoke plumes billowed orange against the gray skies of Titan, a grim testament to the Drawn's first strike. "They're targeting our energy grid!" a technician yelled, his voice cracking under the strain. Lara gritted her teeth. "Call in all personnel. This is Commander Holt. Initiate emergency procedures immediately. Evacuate all non-essential personnel to the shelters assigned. This is not a drill." Returning to the tactical map, Lara scanned the symbols representing their dwindling air forces. It was a desperate gamble against the superior numbers of the Drawn. Nash approached, his face grim. "Commander, communications with Earth are being blocked. However, I managed to send a message before the disruption." "Good work." Lara clenched her fists and nodded. Another explosion rocked the station. "We'll hold them at the colony's edge and keep this command center operational for as long as possible." The ground shuddered. A chilling reminder that time was slipping away faster than anyone dared admit. Amid the warnings and chaos, Lara remained a pillar of determination, though her heart pounded with the grim realization of what was likely to unfold. "Western Sector reporting, Commander," another officer called out. "The residential unit has taken a direct hit." Lara's heart sank. Lives were being lost by the second. "Focus all remaining defenses on the civilian areas. We must hold the line." A young officer, pale but resolute, approached. "Commander, Earth Command is patched through." The screen flickered, and General Armand's grave face appeared. Lines of concern etched deeply into his features. "Reinforcements are en route," Armand began, but another blast severed the connection, plunging the room into momentary silence, broken only by the distant echoes of destruction. Lara steadied herself, taking a deep breath to calm the rising despair. "Listen up, everyone," she commanded. "We knew this day might come. If we fail, humanity on this frontier perishes. We fight to the end, defend those shelters at all costs." Her voice echoed with resolve, galvanizing her crew. Officers and technicians moved with renewed purpose, carrying out her orders with deliberate speed. The aftermath of the Drawn assault left Titan Colony a smoldering ruin, a glaring scar on the icy terrain. News of the devastation flooded Earth's media, accompanied by haunting images of destruction and stories of terrible loss. Deep within the war room of the presidential complex, President Mara Kinsey called an emergency meeting with her cabinet and senior military advisors. Standing at the head of the long table, her rigid posture exuded determination, though her eyes betrayed the turmoil within. "I want options," she demanded, her voice slicing through the solemn whispers. "We cannot let this stand." General Harrow, the first to speak, stood tall in his decorated uniform. "Madam President, a surgical strike alone won't suffice. The Drawn do not see us as a significant threat. We must change that perception now. Mara's gaze swept across the room, noting the mix of enthusiasm and apprehension on her advisors' faces. And what do you propose, General? A series of coordinated strikes against their military assets, Harrow replied, pointing to a map displaying potential targets. We can strike quickly and decisively, demonstrating that any aggression toward Earth will have dire consequences. Allen. Reeves, the Secretary of State, interjected cautiously, "We must tread carefully. This is about more than military strategy. The entire galaxy is watching. We risk alienating potential allies if we act recklessly." Mara nodded slowly, absorbing every argument. "This isn't about retaliation. It's about deterrence. To be clear, we will target only military installations. I will not condone attacks on civilian populations." The room fell silent, her words hanging heavily in the air. "Prepare the plans, General," she ordered. "I want them on my desk within the hour. Allen, draft a statement for the galaxy. They must understand why we're taking this course of action." As the meeting adjourned, Mara lingered, staring at the star map projected on the wall. Each point of light represented a life, choices with far-reaching consequences. "What have we become?" she murmured to herself. "Defenders of our people, if nothing else." The operation commenced with brutal efficiency. Earth's fleet, equipped with cutting-edge propulsion technology, swiftly reached the drawn outposts. Pilots and commanders executed their carefully calculated strikes with precision. In the quiet expanse of space, missiles traced arcs of destruction across the void. Each explosion marked a blow to the Dron's military infrastructure. Weapons, depots, air bases, and communication arrays were reduced to rubble. Back on Earth, Mara watched the live feeds with a stoic expression. Behind her back, her hands were tightly clenched. Every successful strike brought a flicker of triumph and a pang of sorrow. When the final target was neutralized, Mara addressed the galaxy. Images of the operation were broadcast across all channels. Her tone was somber but resolute. "Today, we acted to defend our people and secure our future. Let it be known, Earth does not seek conflict, but we will not hesitate to defend our own." The drawn outposts lay in ruins, their once formidable presence reduced to dust. Yet Earth's decisive response rippled through the galactic community, stirring debate and condemnation in the hallowed halls of the Galactic Council. Trell, the Zenith Confederacy's ambassador, led the outcry. His voice boomed with fury, condemning Earth's aggression. "This threatens the foundation of interstellar accords. Earth must be held accountable." The public's thirst for vengeance started to grow as transmissions from the Galactic Council were broadcast, demonstrating the range of their forces' destruction. Images of alien infrastructure in ruins and foreign families left homeless ignited a fire within the hearts of humanity. Humanitarian demonstrations broke out in large numbers. Banners floated in towns all over the world, bearing words painted in bold to promote harmony and condemn the government's actions. In the darkened room of President Mara Kinsey's presidential complex, she observed the demonstrations. Her earlier resolve was crumbling beneath the weight of her choices. Beside her, Lara Holt stood solemnly, having recently returned from Titan. Their private discussion was steeped in tension, as they intended to stop further losses. Mara's voice started, just above a whisper. "I worry that we've lost something of humanity," she said. Lara, hardened by the terror she had personally witnessed on Titan, replied with equal seriousness. "Ma'am, we did what we believed was essential, but it's clear we now need a new path." Mara nodded slowly, turning back to the screen displaying news reports about emergency sessions of the Galactic Council. "Prepare a proposal, Lara," she instructed. "One that shows we're ready to rebuild, not just destroy." With a renewed sense of purpose, Lara collaborated with officials from Earth to create a comprehensive peace plan. The strategy included reparations for the affected drawn communities and a proposal for a new interstellar agreement focused on dispute resolution and mutual defense. Meanwhile, the media on Earth began to shift its narrative. Journalists who had once enthusiastically supported the strikes started raising concerns about the long-term consequences of such military operations. Conversations with war veterans and diplomats emphasized the need for lasting peace initiatives, and public sentiment began to turn toward reconciliation. In a pivotal broadcast, Lara introduced the peace proposal. Her demeanor was earnest as she addressed her fellow humans and the galaxy at large. "Today," she said, "we extend our hands, not in support or defiance, but in unity. Together, let us mend the boundaries shattered by terror and misunderstanding." The proposal, sent through interstellar channels, reached the Council of Galactic Stars. At first, it was met with disbelief, but cautious optimism began to take hold. Discussions commenced, hesitant and tense, as past resentments lingered. Yet, a shared desire to prevent further conflict pushed them forward. Back on Earth, President Mara met with her counselors. Their faces, a patchwork of humanity's diversity, mirrored the gravity of the moment. "This is only the beginning," Mara said firmly. "We must be as committed to peace as we have been to defense. Our legacy will not be defined by the battles we fought, but by the galactic community we build in peace." The eagerly awaited Earth delegation, led by President Mara Kinsey and Commander Lara Holt, arrived at the Galactic Council headquarters for what was hailed as a historic peace summit. The vast auditorium, typically buzzing with the sounds of countless dialects, fell uncomfortably silent as the humans took center stage, carrying the weight of their past actions. Representative Mara stepped up to the podium, her gaze steady, as she addressed the assembly. "We stand before you today, not to justify our past, but to forge a path forward for all of us," she began. "Earth proposes a peace effort